You walk in and show up coming in from the world into a facility or a residential treatment program, saying hello and giving a compliment could make the world of difference to a young person.
We still people at the end of the day. We still want to be told good morning, have a good day. We still want to be talked to the same as everybody else. That's what you do when you out in the world. You tell people good morning. So it's like everyday common things is like not really what we're used to. So when we get used to that, it kind of puts us in a whole different headspace.
It make you feel more as you still human rather than a dog.
Dang. You still human rather than a dog. My name is Cole Williams, and today we are joined by two incredible young men. Both have powerful stories, not just about what they've been through, but about where they are and who they are becoming.
My name is Marshall Mansfield, 21, just coming home from the juvenile justice system.
Okay.
I'm Jordan. I'm 21. I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah. Can I ask what ages were you when you find yourself in some of these facilities?
I always get it confused, 16 and 15.
Okay. So you were still a teen?
I was definitely a
teen. All right.
I was 16 when I got locked up.
Okay. Jordan, how old were you?
I caught my first charge at 12 years old.
12. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. When you catch your first charge at 12, does that also mean you're going into a facility?
Yeah. At one point, I was in a facility for a day, came back to court, then they sentenced me for a month.
Okay. To the facility.
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to take some time, man, to talk through the Michigan Juvenile Detention Association. You guys remember the fall conference that we all came together to participate in? Being in that space, what was it like for the first time sitting in a room with professionals from across the state of Michigan who either work in a juvenile facility or run a juvenile facility? What was it like sort of being in that space with them, sharing your experience with them?
It was interesting.
How so?
It was interesting. I say it was interesting just because of how everyone was paying attention. Like this what they came here for.
Yeah.
The interaction with the people was almost like they doing this for a purpose. So I was just happy to see that the purpose of what we was doing was getting heard.
Yeah.
That's really what I liked about it.
Yeah.
I was kind of nervous because just the name, like the staff, just the position role that they got, it's always been, not always negative, but at the placement I was at, it wasn't always the best, So I was kind of nervous to be in front of, a bunch of people who are successful, the other side of the law. And, it felt good that they was there just to hear us speak. They wasn't there for nothing else. And then we kind of got to see them in like their natural element. Like they wasn't like telling everybody tuck their shirts in. They was having fun. They was dancing. It felt like an interaction kind of.
What did it feel like to be heard in that space? Not as a resident or a case, right? But as a man with a story that matters. What was that like?
I say freedom. I felt free. I can definitely say it was filled with emotion, just knowing, remember being on like the other side.
Yeah. They
paid attention more, seeing that. Like even seeing us trying to change it around, I feel like they pay attention to you.
Not that, they judge anybody or anything, but like I feel like I was at a situation where you can't judge us no more. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's like a different feeling. It's like a feeling that you get when you think that people see you in a different light, and then you realize like it don't really matter how that light that they see you in because you're just doing good. Like they can't judge me no more because I'm doing good, And I feel like, not that they was judging me, but I feel like, it was like I get to see them as a different me.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing them as a student talking to a staff. I'm looking at them like two adults having a conversation.
Man, that's big. That's big. And it's also okay to, part of this is that our listeners are going to be folks that maybe already or currently still behind bars in some regards. Our listeners are going to be folks from across the state and even outside of the state, across the country. So knowing that you guys have an amazing responsibility, I want you to be as transparent and honest as it relates to like your experience. Because it is safe to say that for some residents, they do feel judged by staff. And they don't always have the best experiences. And I think that was part of why we were at that conference, is to really help these folks who work in these spaces truly understand why youth voice is so important, and what is it like to actually be a resident that actually lives in the facility versus someone that comes in and works first, second, and third shift. So you guys have to have some type of relationship, and what we want to do is try to change that. So like, is there anything that came out of that you like, man, I felt like they got it? So can anybody speak to like, what did you walk away feeling like you were understood, or your experience in the facility made an impact to the people that were there?
I feel like they never seen what we did before, ever.
What you mean by that?
For, young men in their 20s that flipped it around and like was able to like tell their story, even explain their story. What's the word I'm looking for? I feel like we made history.
No, and I think you're right. I don't know what folks are doing in other states, but I can definitely say in the state of Michigan, what we just did was definitely something that most people aren't doing.
Yeah, it might look small to us, but that was bigger than what we really thought it was.
No, for sure.
I felt they was very open-minded for what we was talking about. They was talking back to us. They was the engagement was 100%, and I just felt like we was all being heard. And all the people around us was just taking in what they didn't know. They was taking in what they should know.
It's good.
So they might go to work next week in a whole different mindset from just what we experience, and letting them know what's going on.
Something as small as a compliment, a good morning, could change somebody's whole mindset, change somebody's whole day. Yeah. You could go to work and tell a kid good morning, and he'll be good for you the rest of the day. You might just not say nothing to him, and maybe something happened the last day, you're not addressing it, so now it's just like built up tension, and then nobody's addressing it. So just a small little comment, could help somebody.
And what's also important, Marshall, what you just said, is that there's going to be a facility that's going to watch this. So my hope is that a juvenile facility will watch this and share this with youth that are in their program, a residential treatment program. Staff and youth will watch this, and hopefully there will be some dialogue that they'll have just based off of what you said. When you walk in and show up coming in from the world into a facility or a residential treatment program, saying hello and giving a compliment could make the world of difference to a young person.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, that the four walls is the home, the punishment is the walls. Like, still people at the end of the day. We still want to be told good morning, have a good day. We still want to be talked to the same as everybody else. We just made a mistake, and we shouldn't be defined by that mistake. We should still be treated like the good morning is, it makes us, it brings us back to like, wanting to do better. If we keep hearing like these good mornings, that's what you do when you out in the world. You tell people good morning. So it's like them doing their like normal things to us. I don't want to say normal, but everyday common things is like not really what we're used to. So when we get used to that, it kind of puts us in a whole different headspace.
Going off what Marshall said, I second with that, because it make you feel more as you still human rather than a dog.
Dang. Like, you still human rather than a dog. Is that?
It's like you get treated like a dog. Like,
help folks understand what that is, right?
You having a bad day. You about to go see your mom for visitation, and it's a far drive, whatever. Mom don't show up. Then you got this staff, who's not doing anything wrong, but he just talking to you like in a manner that makes you, frustrated. You already got a lot going on. Not everybody, but they was trying to play like they was better than me. Not everybody, of course, but sometimes it'll be like they say jump, jump. They say sit. Like, and if you don't listen to them, then we're not in no vocal term. We're not in no vocal space to even speak up for ourselves, or we're gonna be in trouble.
Put in the cage, basically.
Yeah.
Like put in the dog cage. You got to go to your cell.
What about when they say, because someone might say, well, no, a person can file a grievance. Like,
Well,
if you
the
don't
grievance-
like something, yeah, you can file a grievance.
Yeah, you can follow a grievance, and some places grievances do work, but where I was at, the grievance has to go through the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So if I got a problem with, for example, Mr. Cole,
Yeah.
then and I need to tell Nick about Mr. Cole, you know, then I got to go through you to tell him about you. So it's kind of like, and not that you read it because you're not supposed to read it. It's illegal if you read it, but I don't know. I've heard about grievances that haven't, like, people told me, I've seen them get turned in and nothing ever happened to it.
That's really most of the times too. That's
Giving
really
false
most of the
hope.
times.
Mm-hmm. But some of those folks will say, well, you might not know that we had the conversation, but we had the conversation and the grievance was fixed. So I that might be something that someone watching this might say or have a lens. How would you speak to that?
Where was the correction to the error if we still complaining about it? It's different if we complaining about something that we're causing problems to. Now if y'all two are being rude to the staff, you know, talking disrespectful, and me and him ain't really, you know, doing nothing, that staff is treating us some type of way, I'm gonna feel some type of way. But now I also understand, like, stop messing with the staff too. Like, I understand that too. But at the end of the day, it's like, we're at these places to get the help. We're here because we need the help. We're gonna mess up. The staff is supposed to be our sanctuary in the spot. Like, we supposed to go to them, feel comfortable. I can't talk to so and so because he's cool with, you know, this staff. It kind of creates like a unhealthy environment. And when you do tell a staff, I might tell this staff, and he might really genuinely want to go talk to that staff. Now I just created two staff conflicts, and now I gotta feel like, since I told this guy, now I feel like this staff is gonna treat me different. You know, it's a tricky situation. It's like, you by yourself. You ain't got, like you're with a bunch of people that you don't know, and the highest power is the people, is the students, is the inmates. You know,
The highest people is the people that you don't know. And it's crazy because you can walk into a facility and it's a whole nother environment. You gotta get comfortable. You gotta know what you're doing. You gotta know what type of staff is. And me walking into that type of lifestyle, it was new because at one point you gotta adapt, and it forms you. It's gonna form you to a certain person that's already in there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When you think back to your time in the system, who were you then and who you feel like you are now, or who are you now, I should say?
I feel like it's a big change. Just through experiences, through life in general, and just through meeting a lot of people. I can tell you that I know who I was, but I can't tell you who I'm gonna be yet. You know, it's a big difference. I'm still growing. This lifestyle is new to me, so I'm just trying to understand what I gotta do now to elevate and be the best person I can. You know?
I think that when I first got locked up, I was just lost, like, mentally, like I was just out of there, like I just checked out. I was just breathing, waking up, and just didn't care. I didn't care for myself, didn't care for the ones around me. I ain't, like, you know, obviously, like, my family I care for, but in a way I didn't even care for them. Like I was just focused on me. And when I got locked up, it was different because when I went to the place, when I was fortunate enough to have a good staff there who was able to show me different, like, she was the commissary lady, and she used to help me with the commissary, and from after I helped her or whatever, she would, like, throw me a little bit of snacks or whatever. But just, like, I wasn't taking it because I didn't realize, like, she was telling me, like, nah, it's what normal people do, normal people share, like, stuff like that. And I kind of, like, it ain't just me against the world, you know. It's people here that will fight my battles, not for me, but with me. Nobody is gonna go harder for me than I am myself. But at the end of being locked up, it kind of, like, guided me to show, like, you know, you're not alone in this battle. It's people that go through way worse than you, you know, that come back from, you know. It's people that have way easier than you that get way worse, you know. So I look at it like, you know, I was fortunate enough to have people around me. You know, I was fortunate enough to want to surround myself by people who were, you know, wanting the best interests for me. So that's the way I look at life now.
That's good. Nick, how would you answer that?
I was lost, now found. And being lost is like you just in a dark space. Like it's like you just moving, you just a moving body. Like I was led like in the wrong direction. So it took for me, myself, to find the right direction to go in because I was blind and misled by who was around me and who I grew up with. So it took for me for my last bid, like to really understand, really have a clear outlook on everything that's going on in my life.
Can you guys speak to, like, in your own words, like, what does lost look like? So people that are working with young people can start to recognize what that looks like, if you can describe it.
I don't think that loss looks like one thing. I think that loss can look like anything. I done
Okay.
seen people, have it all, but they was just on autopilot mode, and you couldn't even tell that they had it all. They just living day to day, look like they miserable, and I done seen people having people around you where you're not even doing nothing wrong, but you just don't know where you going with your life. You just living day by day. You're not living to accomplish nothing. You're not living to foreign, like you don't feel like you living for anybody. You just feel like you getting up, and I feel like that's lost. You don't got a plan, you don't got a goal, you don't got nothing. Like you feel like you mentally don't got nothing when it's just how you look at life.
So if you a guy that's operating out of that mindset, so if I pulled up knowing that I'm also operating out of that, and I say, yo, let's go hit this lick, you might be inclined to like, yo, let's go.
Right.
Is that what I hear you say?
Yeah, it's like two empty cups trying to fill each other. You can't, you can't fill, an empty cup with an empty cup,
Okay.
I feel like lost to me is just spiritually unaligned, because we all have a purpose to be somebody, and if we not on that right path, certain things that's not a part of the story is gonna get involved. You say hanging out with people, and he say you can't fill the same cup. Well, when like if we spiritually in line, we don't gotta worry about nobody pouring into us. It's the absence of purpose. I think that's what I think loss can be. Just the absence of the soul, of the thrive, of the righteousness.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. So I agree. Man, no, Jordan, that's it. That's it. What's one moment from being locked up that still sticks with you to this day?
Good, bad, what?
Whatever.
Closing my door all the time.
What do you mean?
You so used to closed doors to where like mess me up mentally having a closed door all the time that I always close my door when I go in the room.
I never even thought about that. Never thought about closing my door, like unless I needed to close it for, like, you know what I'm saying? But that doesn't even occupy space in my mind.
Even when I stayed with my mama, like my door was just always closed, and she'd throw a little comment out there like, "Oh, there you go, going back to his cage." You know what I'm saying? He used to being locked up. Throwing that out there, but that's really what it was. Kind of, I feel like that's what it did to me. That's something that always stuck with me.
The smell, the smell, because you'll find yourself smelling something familiar, then it take you down the whole timeline of what you've been through. I was working at the hospital one day, and I smelled a whiff of what the juvenile smell like and what the hospital smell like. Then like it took me down the whole. Then I'm getting negative energy from my job. Next thing I think a week later I got locked up for something. But it was just weird because it was almost like I was getting ready for it, or it was getting closer to me. You got unfinished business, bro. I don't smell the smell no more though. It'd be scary if I did though. It's just crazy though.
Nah, man, nothing about what you said was crazy.
But it's not normal though.
No. Okay. It's connected to the system.
Is the system normal?
You tell me. I would say no.
It ain't nothing about it. Ain't
Nothing about that
it.
normal.
Nothing.
The fact that you worked at a hospital and the same scent from the hospital, I'm wondering if that was the cleaning supplies.
It could have been. It could have been. It could have been just, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's just negative energy smell.
It
Yeah.
is, huh?
No, I get.
Sometimes I
No.
feel like your thoughts will have you smelling something that you actually not smelling. Like
You know, like when you get a smell of grandma around here, and then take you back to down that memory lane. You like, man,
You get the smell of the Bob Barker Blue Magic.
Yeah.
That's there.
Bob Barker.
You be like, dang. Then it hit you. It's deep, man.
It's funny you say that because I just received a thick Bob Barker catalog of like all the things that folks that run facilities purchase.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that you're talking about a Bob Barker scent because I was just looking in the catalog of Bob Barker things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about you? Is there anything that, Marshall, that
Yeah, I say what stuck with me the most is feeling like, you know, not being dependent, but like they never, you know, I never got to learn any real independent skills. You know, like I was there, but I wasn't there. It feels like I every day was on co-pilot where I would just wake up and do what they tell me. Like I never really learned those skills. I never really learned a trade. I got my license and stuff, or not my license, my ID while I was there, but they never really. A lot of it got to do with programming. They don't really got no programs that learn nothing. So when I came home, it's like I still feel like I fall upon people. Like even when I'm doing the job interview, it's like these are things that I should be able to just do on my own that I just doesn't click yet, you know. And I'm working on. I'm getting better on speaking out for myself. But I feel like dependency, you know, like I was used to everybody, like the staff being like a crutch, you know, because if I was hungry, you know, I had to depend on them. If I wanted to go to school, I'd depend on them, you know. So I feel like being independent is kind of where I is struggling at, you know.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think me and Nick have had some conversations just around like understanding like time management and exploring that. And then one day we were talking and just recognizing, man, if your whole time has been controlled and you've been 13, 14 under the time management of a facility, and then all of a sudden we release you and say, hey, you can now go out into the world and now you need to manage time. It could be really challenging if your time has always been managed for you.
It's going to be like you releasing a grown 13-year-old.
Yeah. And then you get fired from a job because you don't show up on time. But if you have these experiences as a young person, your time being managed by facilities, then you really, really have to be intentional about just like managing how you show up in spaces.
Hey everyone, it's Nick Williams here with this week's Delta Project News Break. We've got 3 powerful stories to highlight, all center on justice, safety, and what it means to build stronger, more compassionate systems right here in Michigan. Let's start in Detroit, where conversations about public safety have taken center stage again. An article from Bridge Detroit argues that Detroit doesn't need the National Guard to fight crime. It needs deeper investment in community-based solutions. The author, Jordan, points out that sending in troops to address violence doesn't fix the root causes. It only escalates fear and tension. Instead, Detroit residents are calling for more jobs, better access to mental health care, and youth engagement programs that stop violence before it even starts. That message hits home for us here at the Delta Project because we believe safety grows from opportunity, not over politicking. Next up, some encouraging news for returning citizens. According to the Michigan Chronicle, the state has officially expanded its reentry ID program to Wayne County. This initiative makes it easier for people coming home from incarceration to get a valid state ID, which is a critical step in rebuilding their lives. Without identification, it's nearly impossible finding housing, applying for jobs, and accessing healthcare. Expanding this program means more returning citizens will have the tools to succeed and contribute to their communities right away. And finally, the Metro Times reports that Michigan advocates are urging police departments to stop cooperating with ICE. For those who don't know, that is the Federal Immigration Agency. Community leaders warn that when local law enforcement collaborates with ICE, it erodes public trust and discourages immigrants from reporting crimes or seeking help. Policing should protect communities, not target them. Building trust between residents and law enforcement takes transparency, compassion, and accountability. values we lift up in all of our work at the Delta Project. That's all for this week's news break. If these stories resonated with you, stay connected with us at thedeltaproject.co and sign up for our newsletter to keep up with the updates on reform, reentry, and restorative justice efforts across Michigan. Until next time, this is Nick Williams with the Delta Project News Break.
I remember the hardest time in my life.
I felt sure of who I was and where I was going.
Looking back, I can see how lost I really was. Made choices that I didn't have to make.
Took paths that led nowhere. And the truth is, I didn't have anyone to guide me.
At some point, we've all needed guidance. Without it, we can fall further than we ever imagined.
Right now, our youth face more challenges than ever.
Social media, pressure, a world constantly telling them who they should be.
That's why the Boys to Mentors program is so important.
A mentor you relate to can be the difference between struggle and success.
Be the person that you wish you had.
Donate today because their future is our future.
What do you wish people really understood about young people behind the walls? Because there are going to be some young people that are watching this. And so you guys in so many ways are voices for those young people who currently don't have a mic in front of them. So what would you say you would like for our viewers to really truly understand about the young person behind?
You can be anything you want. And you hear this a lot. And I hear it growing up, like you can be any, but you really you got to understand, like your opportunity that you're in right now doesn't define the tomorrow. I mean, it might in the sense of being in jail, okay, and you know you're going to wake up tomorrow and be in that cell, but they can't hold you forever. So when I say you can be anything, you can take somebody from the dirt and they can become the best in the world. You're that person in that dirt. That's what I'm telling you. You could just shake all that off. You know what I'm saying? Because me growing up, I felt hopeless. You know, I felt like this is it. This was my lifestyle. And there's a lot of kids out there that I feel like they feel like that too. But we have to understand, like, we way more. Every individual person is way more powerful than we think. So if you just open up them thoughts and them minds, I feel like we can. You unstoppable. I didn't see that growing up. You know, it was like I had to. I wish I could have. I wish I knew.
But you said something powerful, man. I'm sure there's a lot of young people walking around feeling hopeless. You know, hope is a real thing. Hope is a motivator. But if I don't have hope, you know, what do I do? You know, you fall back into what we just described, that feeling of being lost.
I'll tell them that, like, you know, it ain't over. You know, it feels like, you know, you at your worst. You might not be able to see your mom and dad, you know, how it's little siblings, but it do get greater later, you know.
Like sometimes we don't know what we want to be. Like we don't know what we want to be. We don't see nothing. We don't see nothing. It's like I said, you part of being lost. Like you see this black space. So it would be helpful if like staff could like somehow see what we good at, or even have some type of opportunities in the facility that can, so we can show like our talents or whatever we good at, so they can point it out like, you good at this. You should start doing this.
What about that kid? Because I agree with you. What about that kid that dysregulates? The kid that acts out, that cusses you out, the kid that in the middle of the night is screaming, making ruckus and making it hard for the third shift worker, because that's what people start to think about. What about that kid that causes what we like to call the problem? How should, because a lot of people think about kids that are in the juvenile detention center. These are bad kids. These are kids that are, in the 90s, they used to call kids in facilities super predators.
Yeah.
Assaultive.
Yeah, so these are dangerous kids that get locked up, right? And they don't even, some people don't even think that you're even, we start using words like, these are children, right? But can you speak to like that? Like what should, because I don't think people really sometimes see kids that find themselves in these facilities as children at all. I mean, you just described the concept of, what'd you say, a dog versus a human. Like, so that's the kind of experiences that young people are feeling like, which means in order to feel that way, I must be being treated that way. And so how do you speak to folks who who are in the work and doing it and start to work with kids that are difficult to work with, do they still deserve staff to be the way that they work with kids who don't give you problems? I'm just curious about what your thoughts about that.
I feel like we got to understand what that kid been through.
Okay, talk to us, Jordan. That's because you talking. That's it.
That kid been through probably more than an average person been through, you know? And we got to understand trauma is a real thing, you know? You can have trauma that replays in your head every day, and the only reason you can escape from it is from being outwards, gravitating from other people, because you can't deal with yourself right now. So that kid that's promoting them type of behaviors, he's actually the most powerful one, because at that one point he scared of himself. Mm. He know what he's been through, and he know how much anger he has in his body.
Yeah,
and he know that, okay, I'm doing this. He actually crying for help in a sense, you know.
So Nick, when you say things like show them love, how would you describe? Because I'm assuming I know you can say, Cole, I wasn't that kid, but I'm assuming you probably you may have acted up a little bit in the facility. I'm just right. Yes. And so when you say show love, how does a person who work in these spaces, or as a probation officer, or even a judge, how should these people in these positions respond to a kid who is, as Jordan just described?
I was labeled assaultive. So they put that label on me. You know, you label assaultive, you basically kind of like danger to the staff, the kids, and everything.
Was that really who you were?
No, that wasn't.
You were the
label.
It was a label.
But I can't say it was like Jordan. I was crying out for help. I was like, it was so much anger built inside me. You know, I would react rather than even talking or thinking about it.
So what if they would have said, okay, he's not the label assaultive, but what if they would have said, oh man, you guys, he needs additional care. We need to care for him. What if the label was care?
It's crazy that you say that, because when I went to placement, right, my mentor, he said it's better for you to get in trouble be a bad kid first time, so they can care for you. But if you come in here acting good and you try to be bad, you're not gonna get the care you getting, because they know that you can do good. And it's crazy because you don't get the care you need. You know, okay, I'm coming in here, I already know the basics. I ain't gotta be like this. Then you see me turn to a back, you be like, I thought you were just, no, he just doing that for
attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kids like that, you know, need counseling. Counseling is a big part of that, and you know, no facility in there shouldn't be able to find a counselor that doesn't fit this, you know, youth that does need the help. There should be no reason why, you know, every youth in a facility should be able to have a tailored counselor.
Tailored counselor. I love that. A tailored counselor.
Yeah, yes, sir. And a little bit of it is I had juvenile life, so I was there till I was 21. We all had to do like these little level things, and everybody from a murder to stealing a piece of candy, we would be working on the same book. It's like grades, like you level up in grades. You know, you don't teach a 12th grader, first grader stuff.
What you're asking for is facilities and agencies to provide tailored support for the needs of the child that they see, versus kind of giving you one counselor who you may not even connect with because of your experiences with therapists in your lifetime. So I think the concept of building out tailored support to support an individual needs is important. I mean, we do that in a variety of ways. So something to think about, especially when we think about how we can reimagine what the juvenile justice system looks like and feels like for people that are actually living it versus people that just hear about it or read about it or just talk about it. Who was one adult that really made a difference in your life in this, as you were going through this experience?
I can't name one. I know you. It's a lot of people that made a difference. But like one of the major staff, her name was Miss Edwards, and like I said, she took that little lonely, you know, lost child. She brought that up out of me, and she brought it to where like I'm comfortable now. Like when we went to the placements, we had like little field trips where we could go to the college and stuff. And I used to be real like just nervous, just nervous of everybody. Like I was only used to, you know, people acting like this. Some people just walking around and stuff. It made me nervous. People walking behind me. So she brought like a whole different side of life to me, and it brought like joy. And it's like she's like somebody who I'll never forget for the rest of my life. You know,
My mother.
Yeah.
It's all been about my mother. Still about her. I just feel like she gave me motivation. She gave me motivation to understand that, again, you can be anything you want to be.
Yeah.
You know, it gave me a sense of purpose and love. You know,
I'll say you.
Me?
Yeah. And the main reason I say that is because I never met anyone out of my whole life, out of the juvenile justice system, that wants to help us black men tell our story and also show us the way to change.
with nothing for free. For free.
Yeah.
That made a major impact in my life.
Thank you. What part of being in the system hit the hardest, and how did you get through it? Think about that.
Lost time. Oh, I like the time you lose for your life just being on pause and having to get out and just make that time up. Like you gotta catch back up on everything. Everything.
Is that stressful?
That's real stressful.
No, you fight battles still, like trying, like, you know, I ain't like when they never been to the club 21. I still want to go. I still like I know that, you know, it ain't the time. Like, you know,
Right. But going to the club, yeah,
it's like
partying.
And I say even missing, like when you so young like that, you get incarcerated, you missing out on all the type of fun kid stuff like prom and graduation parties, your birthday, just everything. Like you missing out on so much.
Have you guys been to a prom?
Never, not me personally.
I was only in high school for a year. Sometimes I don't feel like, you know, I lost time. I feel like sometimes I took a shortcut because I came home and it seemed like everybody was doing the same stuff. And, you know, I tried to, you know, I'm not going to just sit here and lie and say it was easy. I came home and I tried to, you know, help people that genuinely will give you their last, but it's like you just not in a situation to help them.
When a young person comes out and they've got all this new information, they got all this knowledge about how they're going to do things differently, and then they come out and they start to see the same people that they kind of in so many ways left when they got put in a facility. Those same people are really still doing the same thing. They didn't get the information that you now have. So then before you know it, you come out and you trying to like get everybody, yo, bro, get back into school, bro. You need to do this. You need to do that. We need to go here. We need to start doing this. And
the whole time you trying to help them so much, that's like, for example, so say, you know, me and somebody, you know, it's cool and they doing the wrong thing, you know, I'm trying to, you know, guide them the right way. And it's like, me being around them is keeping them out of trouble, but we just being static. And then so it's like, now I'm not growing, but you staying out of trouble. So it's like we just stuck. Now we just even.
Or Marshall, it's safe to say, what starts to happen is the pool starts pulling you. So you started to go, I'm trying to help. Before you know it, now you actually back to doing what you set out not to do, because all the people that you around trying to help are still doing the same thing. And so it's like, okay, if you doing it, and I'm the only one not, how do I not go back to doing it? Even though the conditions of my probation might say, or I might not be on probation, but the conditions of my probation says don't hang out with anybody that is doing X, Y, and Z. But how do I not do that if that's my brother? How do I not do that if that's my cousin? if that's the friend that rocked with me when I didn't have absolutely nothing, and their family let me stay with them until I was able to, you know what I'm saying? So it's connections and relationships, but we live in the same neighborhood. I see you when I walk out the door. So it's really important for folks to know that coming home isn't just about coming home. It's a lot that you come home to. And that if you don't have support, you can find yourself back into those same spaces. So let me ask this question. What does support look like? Because people always say, man, when you get out, we gonna support you. We're going to do this, or I need support. And or people might ask you, what kind of support do you need? How would you describe support?
I say guidance.
Guidance. Okay. So does guidance mean someone does the work for you? What is, because people believe that. I think Marshall hit it on the nail. Like, okay, I've been conditioned in a facility for people doing it for me. Now I'm out. I don't necessarily feel comfortable doing it on my own.
Because it's not telling me what to do, it's telling me how to do it.
Okay.
And that's all around the board. That's even in the juveniles. Like, if you, instead of telling the kids what to do, tell them how to do it. Tell them how to go about doing whatever they want to do,
Okay.
I'll say.
That's good.
What I'll say.
I feel like that's support. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you how to do it.
But it's not always about, what you say, sometimes about how you say it, and I feel like, when you talking to somebody, you could be stern, but show them that you care, and you could be stern and show them that, like, make them feel like you don't care.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you say, hey, I think it's important?
Don't judge a book by its cover, because it's people who got a smile on them, and they might be the worst person ever, and it's people who got X, Y, and Z on their record that'll give you the shirt off their back without knowing. It's people out here that do got big hearts. You gotta take the chance to know us.
Okay.
I say it's hard to look at the bigger picture when you're a part of the frame. And I say that due to the fact that we gotta understand that you can paint a picture either however you want it, right? But it's really up to you how you look at it. You can see a picture of something and it's a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
Once you understand that you're the artist, you can paint any picture you want.
And philosopher? Come on, man. What would you say based on your lived experience? What have you learned now that you wish you would have known then?
That I'm still so young that I got life ahead of me. It's starting. Like I got, not that I want to, but I got time to fail and fail again. I'm still gonna have time to make it. It's like I got so much life ahead of me that I'm not just gonna hold myself to Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm it's time to expand. Like what I know now is that it ain't just Grand Rapids. It's not just this people. It's millions of people that's going brighten my future, brighten my whole entire mindset. And just gotta get out and go find them.
Yeah. So I would say don't stress.
Yeah, don't
stress.
Don't stress about the wrong things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
What I want to know?
Yeah.
God. I didn't know God back then. Okay. And I say that due to the fact that I'm not putting no religion on it. Just saying that you need to know who your creator is before you start the race,
Mm-hmm.
Because it's gonna help you win the race, He's gonna give you it's gonna give you fuel, it's gonna give you everything you need.
Okay.
I say it ain't never too late. It's never too late to change your mindset. It's never too late to change who you is as a person. It's never late to change. Too late.
Thank you, fellas, so much for taking the time to join us. Man, I feel blessed and honored to still be able to have an opportunity to be in the spaces with y'all as you share your journeys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Check out our programs on the Delta Project's website, thedeltaproject.co, and be sure to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.